and welcome to the Black Hat Bushcraft channel. Today I wanted to take on a challenge that Shawn Kelly from the Corporals Corner channel issued to himself quite some time back. And the challenge was to set up an emergency type lean-to shelter in under 2 minutes. And I thought that was an excellent challenge. A lot of times we learn how to set up this type of a shelter, we learn how to tie these knots, and we do it in practice when we're relaxed, when we're just kind of taking it easy and enjoying our time in the woods. But if you ever really had to set this shelter up in an emergency, you're going to be under a little bit of stress. You're going to be under a time crunch. And sometimes when we're under stress and time crunch, we tend to fumble with things if we don't have it committed to muscle memory. So I thought it was a great challenge because it requires you to practice and repeat these motions over and over in hopes to develop muscle memory so that when you're under stress and you really need this, it's a second nature skill. I thought I'd come out today, do a little practice, and see if I could get this done in under 2 minutes. So stick with me and let's see if I can make that happen. Just a quick look at my shelter kit before I get started. What I have here is a standard 5x7 US military issue casualty blanket. The commercial equivalent of that would be the Grabber 5x7 emergency space blanket. They're very similar, if not identical. On the back two corners of that, I have just a short loop of 550 paracord tied off with a necklace knot or fisherman's knot, which I can use to stake the shelter down. You can see I'm using 5 ABS plastic stakes, and I do have those marked with orange paracord. Just makes it easier to spot those stakes when you take the shelter down and not lose them on the ground with all the debris and things like that. My ridge line is a 30-foot ridge line. It's pre-tied with a bowline knot, and I have here 2 number 36 bank line prusik knots pre-attached. I do carry it that way in my backpack so that when I'm ready to set this shelter up, it's quick and easy and ready to deploy. And I would recommend anyone carrying their shelter with the knots pre-tied, as long as you know how to reproduce that when needed. All right, let's give this thing a shot. All right, I believe that time is 1:57, so just shy of that 2-minute mark. so there you can see I was able to scrape by with that 1:57 time. Hopefully I can work on this and get it down into the 140s, even the 130s. I know that there are some things that I could do to tweak this system and maybe make it just a little bit faster. With this particular tarp that I'm using, I've had to gorilla tape up the grommets. So I had to use 2 separate prusik knots when I was running through those eyelets because the paracord on the trucker's hitch wouldn't go through. So that was one other thing I had to fumble with rather than just using the loop from the trucker's hitch. Also, these eyelets being small takes a second to get that bank line in there, so if I were to use a tarp that had maybe some bigger loops on it, that might make things just a little faster as well. So again, there's always little things that you can tweak to your system. If you look at Shawn's channel, he had another video where he came back, tweaked his system, and really sped his time up, I think 1 minute and 19 seconds, which is just amazing. So you could go look at his videos and see how he tweaked his system to get to that. But anyway, this is what I've been using, so that's what I wanted to practice with today rather than try to change things around. And pre-positioning things in my haversack, having my stakes at hand, of course that made things a little better. And of course you could always use your cargo pocket, as I think Shawn did. So just kind of pre-planning when you go to set your shelter up, having everything right there and ready, that'll definitely help your time in doing this, not having to constantly walk back to your pack. Anyway, just some ideas, just a thought of something that you might want to practice. Shelter is one of the top survival priorities, and being able to set one up in under 2 minutes is definitely a benefit for you. All right, so once again, if you guys haven't checked out and subscribed to Shawn's channel, Corporals Corner, make sure you go and check out his videos, especially where it comes to setting up these emergency type shelters. He's got some fantastic videos on that topic, and I guarantee you'll pick up some tips that'll help you to be able to do this just a little bit better. I appreciate you guys' interest and support. I look forward to talking to you with another video just as soon as possible. And until then, take care and God bless.